Hey, Kayak Mike here. I'm going to go over next year's events, the formats, some things we're changing up. Um, I was going to do the sponsor announcement earlier this month, but I wanted to get the video of me handing the Cat King belt off to Ryan first. Ryan Bortz was the 2022 Cat King. We made a video. We went fishing. We made a video of me handing the belt off, but the only problem was Ryan left his door open to his truck, and the entire time in the background, all you hear is ding, 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 and the wind was intolerable, so it made the video insufferable. That though it just the audio's terrible. So, in fairness to him and in fairness to the scene for 2022, I'm not putting that video out. It's too trashy even for me to put out. I'm gonna get with Ryan, record a new video, and then once I get that video out, then I will announce the 2023 sponsors. I'm kind of glad I haven't announced the 2023 sponsors for the Kayak National Trail yet because there's still things in the works, good things. Every single event is solidified. We have $1,000 title sponsor and a $200 big fish sponsor all 6 events, and we have a guaranteed $1,000 to first place for the point race. And again, that's the minimum. That's before entries. Your entry fee will also build that pot up. Um, that's very exciting. But what's going on with the sponsors in the background is Carolina might be we kayak catfish anglers might be scheduling family vacations around the Carolina event next year. Um, Long story short, there's currently 2 sponsors. One of the sponsors is going to talk to a potential third sponsor. I might be throwing in as well. I told them I would match up to a certain amount. Um, there's no guarantee it's going to be more than 1,200, but there's a chance it's going to be substantially more. So I'm pumped. I am pumped. So we're going to go over the locations really quick for next year. April and March next year, I went down and fished Chickamauga this past year. Loved it. I think it's a great place for having kayak fishing events. One of them is going to be above Chickamauga Dam. The other one's going to be below Chickamauga Dam. The one that's below Chickamauga Dam, the boundaries are going to be below Chickamauga Dam to the Alabama border. You can fish directly below Chick. You can fish directly below the Nickajack Dam. You can fish all Nickajack, and you can fish all the way to the Alabama border. Um, that gives essentially everyone an option. Us who are crazy enough to go bump can go bump 2 different dams if we want to. People who like to suspend fish, there's 100-foot holes. You can go suspend fish 100-foot holes. They have flats that you can go drag. That's what that's it's just amazing. And then the event that will be above Chickamauga, we don't have a upper boundary quite yet established, but the lower boundary will be the dam. That will more than likely be your, suspend fishing / dragging event. I don't really see that having a lot of current. That looks to be more of a reservoir-ish type water. At least from when I was there, that's what it looked like, and that's what when you look at it from like a Google Maps. It looks like it's going to be slower current. So I think you're going to have more of your dragging and suspend fishing there. And then let's move on to and the reason I don't have dates or places or anything like that established for those, I called Tennessee. The TWRA is awesome. Unless you plan on having like 100, 200 boats there, no permit. I don't need to tell nobody. So I'm going to call a couple businesses around and just be like, yo, I want to have it. Can you give us a discount? Because the one place where I want to have a launch, there's like a restaurant right there. Amazing burgers. I went there and ate burgers last year with kayak catfish after we got done fishing Nickajack, and that's probably going to be where we officially launch for that one. And yeah, these ones are free. I can take my time planning these because the TWRA is awesome. I can do. They literally said like, yeah, we don't care. Do whatever you want. They were like, if you plan on having like 100, 200 boats and you're going to block a ramp, just let us know. We still don't care. Just let us know. And I'm like, all right, like this. I wish that's how it worked across the country. I almost want to make every event in Tennessee just for that reason because there's so much red tape that you have to do with all these other states. It's silly. All right, moving on. May is going to be at Hoover. We're going to be the kayak division of the Hoovercast tournament that month. They have their request into the state of Ohio for the ramps that day. Once they get approved, we are just their kayak division for that month. Sandusky, that's already completely confirmed. Clemens Boat Ramp, the Clemens Marina, they are letting us use their boat launch again. That's going to be on June 17th. July is no event. I'm not hosting a single event in July. I'm taking July off. This past year, I actually experienced burnout. I stopped taking my board out in like July, August. I stopped measuring fish. I was in all these events. I was still signing up and paying, but I was burnt out. And I realized like the only person who's more crazy than with me with competition with kayak catfishing is probably Ryan Bortz. And if I experience burnout, I can only imagine what other anglers are experiencing. So we're doing a built-in blackout period July next year. No tournaments. It's also kind of perfect because a lot of places in the country are experiencing some form of spawn, post-spawn around that time. So that's a great month just to take off. August, like I said, it's going to be in the Carolinas somewhere. Tentatively, we're targeting Kerr Lake, but I told the sponsors, like the ones who, if the sponsors want to have it at a different reservoir, hey man, they're the ones giving us the money. Like you tell me where you want me to have the event, you come set up your tents. We're gonna try and make you as much money as possible. Another thing with those sponsors, guys, when I announce them, they're all gonna give us a code. I'm gonna list those codes. That way, our scene can make the money throughout the entire year, and it's not just like they don't just sponsor an event, and I don't just talk about them for the month leading up. We're gonna be pushing these sponsors the entire year as much as we can, because I want them to see a return on investment forever, not just for that one event that they're going to be part of us with. And then September is tentatively our national championship at Rising Sun, Indiana, uh, alongside the Rising Sun Ohio Valley River Cats event. That's a that's a boat event that has about 150 to 200 boaters every single year. I filmed it the last 2 years. The guy who runs it, the administrator, he has given me permission in the past to have a kayak division there. Um, but with the guaranteed money coming in and stuff, we're going a little more by the book. It's not 100% official yet that event is where we're going to be. But I have a very I'm good friends with the guy at this point. I have a strong feeling that's going to be our national championship, and we're going to tag that along. I just honestly, it's going to be more about figuring out if I want to make it a 1 or a 2 day event because their boat tournaments 2 days. I'm thinking we make it a 1 day event and we do it on Sunday, and that's because that Saturday they release all their fish, and the boats are not allowed to fish where they release the fish for like a good half mile. Well, that would be perfect for us because we can come in, fish where all the fish were just released the day before, and we don't have to worry about any boats. It's perfect. There's more fish in a smaller volume of the river, and there is no boats. Boats aren't allowed to fish there. So the only thing we would have to worry about if you do launch and fish there is boat traffic for boats going by to get to new spots during the day. So that would be that's a decent idea. And let's see here. Yeah, that wraps up the trail for 2023. And then the month longs for next year, very simple. Very, very simple. You're going to have a 7 fish slot division. You're going to have a 5 fish open division. You cannot fish both. You can fish from any vessel you want, boat, bank, kayak, don't care. The only rules and regulations is you have to be legal in your state. So if your state says unlimited rods and you want to drag 6 boards in a kayak, drag 6 boards in a kayak. I'm done with the tiki tack rules. From now on, it's just be legal in your state and you're legal in our competitions. I think online competitions are making things too muddy. Other species are some of their rules are just just my opinion, are absolutely ridiculous. The only division that's going to have any kind of rules is the slot division, but you have to have uniformity in the slot division because there's a max length to achieve. And we'll go over that when I go over the free tournament for October. 2023 Scioto River, they have a month or a 24-hour event once a month, starting in March, ending in October. They also do a little point race, Cat King. They have boundaries set up on the Scioto River. It always has good numbers. I love all the guys who fish it. They're good dudes. So, yep, that Scioto River, that's in Ohio, and then Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky. This is a regional group on Facebook, Kayaks and Cats. There's like 5 to 10 of us that fish that every single month. Again, love those guys. Honestly, this is like where I go to have fun. We change the format up in this one every single month. And this one changes like 5 to 10 days before the next month starts because we get together as a group and we're like, fishing like this is good, fishing like this is bad. Let's do this format for this month. We think we'll have the most fun. So that's how that one is ran. But yeah, those are the 4 things we're running next year at the current time. If there's any questions, hit me up. So let's go to the free tournament that we just had and we'll go over some fish. So, like I mentioned about the slot tournament, so in the slot tournament is the only tournament that's going to have like any kind of unique rules. So, a channel cat or a blue catfish in a slot tournament must be measured on its right hand side, left eye up. You must be trying to achieve max length, and what that means is they have to be bumped, and their upper tail has to be straight. So hypothetically speaking, imagine this 23-inch line is actually the 30-inch line. What I would be doing is I would be coming in here, and I would be judging. All right, did this angler make an attempt to get max length from this fish? He clearly did. You might be able to get a smidgen more, maybe, on this length, um, but I don't believe you can. So this would be approved. Hypothetically speaking, if this is a 30-inch line, this would be approved as a almost perfect fish. I can see daylight before that 22.75 line. Let's see, did he submit any more pictures? He did. Or did he just submit the same one over and over? Actually, he might just submit the same one because the picture's not changing. So if I was judging this fish in a not free competition, I would be going in and changing this to 22.5 because I can see daylight here. Do I think he cheated? No, I just think when he was submitting it. So I'm on a computer. What you guys have to understand is when I'm judging these fish, I have a 24-inch HD screen and I could even take these over to another program and zoom in even farther if I want. He doesn't have that luxury on his phone. There's a very good chance this might have clearly looked like a 22.75 fish when he submitted it. But no big deal. I just go in. I'm not going to take you guys behind the scenes because if I do, you'll see the GPS coordinates. I don't share that. The only person who has access to those is me. And I am one of the laziest fishermen known to mankind. So your GPS coordinates are safe with me. I ain't traveling to go fish your waters. Like it's just not happening. But yeah, that's how you submit a slot fish. If you catch a flatheads like this one right here, they are the only slot fish that can be submitted on their bellies. And I go to where I can clearly see it touching the board. Let me move it over. So it's submitted at 26 and a half. Yep. So this is a beautiful example about flatheads. So you see how this tail is up. It, in the past, some anglers have tried like they would submit this fish at 27.75 because if you look at this 27.75 line, that's where the tail is passing. Well, that just is because of the angle of the camera. The tail's not touching 27.75. I can visibly see the tail touching 26.5. So this fish is scored at 26.5, which is what he scored it at. So this person did a perfect job on this flathead. He's clearly bumped. I can see the entire board. Perfect job. This is a perfect submission on a flathead. Slot tournament on its belly. I can clearly tell he tried to achieve max length because that's the farthest the tail will go. And here's the thing too. If you flatten the top of this tail out, flathead tails they're not square per se, but they're more boxy. When you flatten their tails out, it's more like that. So even if he went and pushed his tail all the way down, it actually might crimp up a little. He might lose a little length. So he did this perfect. And that's the only stipulation in the slot tournament. You have to be achieving max length. If I feel like you have that tail spread to get it under that slot limit, then I'm going to DQ the fish. If you have the tail spread on a smaller fish, I'm not going to DQ it because you're just hurting yourself. Why would you spread the tail on a smaller fish? But if you have that tail spread close to a perfect fish, if a 29-inch fish or bigger has that tail spread, there's a very good chance I'm going to DQ it because you're getting into the perfect fish territory. and I can't have the fish that are close to perfect. There has to be uniformity across the board there. But yeah, that's so like these fish down here, these are all new anglers. So if you're a new angler watching this, so if I'm not gonna DQ these because I want them to be able to see their fish on a board, but I would be DQing this fish if there was money on the line because they submitted it on its belly. Channel cats and blue cats have to be submitted on their side. What I'm going to do is in the off season, I will make another video on how to submit the fish. This way, anglers who compete in the future, they can watch the video. It's fresh, it's new because there's a stigma in online fishing events that there's too many rules. Next year I'm going to try to alleviate that. But again, if you're brand new, you don't know. Like if you're brand new, I don't expect you to go read our entire rule book. That would be insanity. And if you're brand new, like little mistakes like this are going to happen. I'm a 3-year vet now, and I'm still forgetting my identifier sometimes. So like everyone's go you're old, everyone's going to have a fish or two rejected at some point in time in their online fishing career. So no big deal. We're going to allow the catch board in slot events next year. Catch boards are not going to be legal in open events next year. The national trail, nothing but musky bumper. I'm not dealing with catch boards anymore. They are abysmal for measuring big fish. They're abysmal for judging big fish. They're hard to read for the administrator. Great example, Ryan Bortz. He lost so many inches this year because he was using a catch board. One, the bumps. I guess they can custom make your bump, but the bumps are terrible. The fish, their face lean over the. This isn't me calling the catch board bad. It's terrible for our purposes. Is it good for bass? I'm sure. They're little fish. They are, and don't even get me started on their new big fish board. I, I hate it. I hate it. They clearly, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. They clearly did not have catfishermen in mind at all when they made that board. Um, did they have to have us in mind? No, but it's so bad for what we do that they clearly didn't even consider catfishing when they made their big fish board. It's so bad. But yeah, next year, musky bumper only for big fish competitions and in persons. I'm not accepting anything else on the national level. If the other, like if Scioto wants to allow it, that's fine. I'm just their administrator. So, but yeah, that's that. Um, let's actually highlight a couple big fish too. Shane had a killer month. Tony's such a good fisherman. Tony always puts up awesome numbers. The bank guys are really good, and this is another reason why I'm combining the bank, kayak, and boat. There's not much that separates the top for the open guys. Like the bank guys kill it. Like the bank guys are some of the best fishermen I see in these online events. I'm surprised that their division wasn't more loaded throughout the year. They are really good. Like I don't mean I'm not saying underrated. Like they're really good. Um, let's see here. Kayak, Dave McKinley at 134.7. Jesse Cox at 100. Jesse's another really. So is SF. These two guys are really good. They're very consistent and very good as well. Let's just look at some of the big fish. That's a hog, 46 incher. That's a beast. All right, let's look at this guy, 42.5 inches. That's a tank. That's another big fish. Let's see here. Tony has a 40.75. Let's take a look at his. That's awesome. That is awesome. I enjoy looking at the big, but here again. All right, so this is another great example. So this is also why I'm going to only the musky bumper next year. This board was legal up until I want to say June or July of this year. This is the Rapala Magnum, but I mean here's the thing. I don't think this guy cheated. Knock on wood, we don't really experience a lot of cheating in our scene. Can it happen? I'm sure, but this is what could happen. So you see how this says 34.25? Yeah, he submitted at 34.25. In theory, he underneath this fish, he could have cracked it and moved it in. So in theory, this could be like a 27-inch fish that he submitted at 34.25. There's no way to tell because we can't see it. Like we cannot see any of the board underneath it. Whereas your musky bumper, check this out. Your musky bumper, even a 46-inch pig you can still almost see the entire outline of the board. I mean, you can't see it down here, but like even a 46-inch monster, I can still see the majority of the board. If you had this thing on the catch board, or if you had this thing on the Rapala board, you're not even going to see the bump because his face is going to go over the bump. So there's technically no way for me to even tell if it is bumped. But when I can't see it, I'm assuming it is bumped because I can't see it. You wouldn't see anything until you got to the tail. You literally would not. This thing would be wider than the entire board all the way to the tail. And then even if you're using the big fish catch, it would be wider than that entire board all the way to about here. And a 46-inch fish, you can't be close when you take a picture. Your only options are black and blue on the big catch board, and it's white lettering. And he was fishing at night. He had good lighting on this, luckily. But let's go back to this guy right here. Where's the fish that I was just at? This guy right here. If this is on that black or blue board, I'm gonna have a miserable time trying to judge this fish because it's at nighttime. He's using lanterns. I mean, he did a great job. Don't get me wrong, but with these other boards, it's much more difficult. So on the Open Series next year, catch or not I'm sorry, Muskie Bumper only. You could buy a $20 sticker. You don't have to buy a $100 board. You could buy their $20 sticker and DIY your own. You have to send me video proof that it's done correctly. You could buy a $100 one. They have $55 ones. Muskie Bumper only for in persons and big tournaments next year. But yeah, that's 2022 wrapped up. That's our formats for next year. Next video, look out for me congratulating Ryan and handing the belt off. We might also have JJ hopping in there and congratulating Ryan in that video. So thank you guys for watching. I cannot wait for next year. Thank you to everyone who supported us up to this point. And a giant thank you to everyone who is taking a leap of faith with us moving forward.